It's no secret that there has been a lot going on with the Brooklyn Nets on and off the court for some time now. Since the Nets were able to acquire two of the league's best stars in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they have been at the center of attention in the league. But now that Kevin Durant is finally back from his long-awaited recovery, we will all get to see what the Nets team is really made of, and the fact that they could be championship favorites. That is, if their locker room can make it through the season in one piece without Kyrie Irving causing issues. Before I get into the Nets as a team and dive into the Kyrie and Kevin Durant locker room situation, let me just say that if you don't agree with me, that is completely fine. But I would much rather discuss what you disagree with in the comments below than you disliking the video and not saying anything, because I want to know your guys' thoughts, because I'm not always going to get it 100% right. But with that being said, let's just dive right into this star-studded Nets team. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with you guys. I was definitely beginning to get down on the Nets team just because of all the trouble Kyrie Irving was causing. I mean, the man said he didn't view it as if he had a coach, and left out many of his great teammates when he was talking about them needing pieces, as well as the fact that Kyrie just went on a media blackout when he announced he wouldn't be speaking with the media at all this year. And honestly, I don't blame Kyrie, because there is almost nothing worse than being on the bad side of the media in a league like the NBA. You guys may not know or even realize, but the media in the NBA has a much bigger impact on players' reputations and even more. I mean, just look at Kyrie's former teammate, LeBron James, arguably the GOAT. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but there was a time in which LeBron James was on the bad side of the media himself, when he did the whole nationally broadcasted decision thing. And he himself definitely said some things he shouldn't have earlier in his career. But LeBron now realized that the media is so important for your reputation that he stopped making stupid comments that caused hate on the media a long time ago. And now, LeBron is one of the most liked people on the media aspect of things. I mean, just think about how many negative stories you have heard about Kyrie Irving in the past year compared to LeBron James. Completely different numbers solely based on the fact that LeBron James is being smart and Kyrie is not, which is what could lead to him ruining the Brooklyn Nets franchise and what they are trying to do right now. But all that aside, and despite the fact that Kyrie has a bad rap on him lately, when I watched the Nets preseason game, I could not help but feel this team could do something big this year and make a push for a ring. I mean, Kyrie won one in Cleveland and KD won two in the Bay. It's bound to happen in Brooklyn, right? Well, maybe, but there are some things that have to happen in order for the Nets to make that championship push, and a lot of it just comes down to sheer luck. But before we get into what the Nets will have to do to make a finals run they have been dreaming of, if you have been enjoying the content lately, it would be absolutely clutch if you could subscribe if you're new and join the Woods crew. I appreciate all the love on the videos, and the subscribers just keep climbing up, so let's keep it going and hit that big 1,000 mark before 2021 begins. So we are set up to have a great year and maybe even go full time. Also, it would be absolutely amazing if you could go down to that like section and just destroy that like button. It helps the channel grow in a big way because it lets YouTube know that this video is a certified banger. And lastly, if you want daily hoops updates on the gram, drop me a follow at Woods Hoops. It's always linked below. But now, let's just dive right into what the Brooklyn Nets need to fix in order to become the 2021 champions of the NBA. And as crazy as it sounds, most of what they need to fix is off the court, not on it. Let's face it, I don't care what reasons you give me, there is undeniable evidence that Kyrie Irving has been a toxic teammate in the past and possibly even right now. And he has caused many issues for teams that he has been on in the past. I mean, just look at what has happened in the unfortunate career of Kyrie Irving so far. He got fed up in Cleveland and wanted his own team, so he left the best player in the league at the time in LeBron James on a sour note, and went to Boston to be the man he always wanted to be. To say the least, the Kyrie-Boston combo did not work at all, and many of Kyrie's teammates anonymously said that he was, quote, hard to play with, had mood swings, and had an isolated demeanor. It also seemed as if Kyrie gave up on the Celtics in the midst of the playoffs when they needed him most, which definitely backs the conclusion that he is not only a bad teammate, but toxic in the locker room. After the Celtics fiasco, Kyrie was able to join the team he wanted to be with the fellow star he wanted. So you think my guy would finally be content, right? Well, not exactly. Kyrie stated that the Nets need different pieces to be around him in order to win, and threw some shade at many of his teammates by not mentioning them. And honestly, if Kyrie isn't able to keep his words to himself, we could see the collapse of the Nets before they even get the chance to get a ring. If Kyrie continues to make statements like he has in the past few seasons, it's only a matter of time before he really makes someone angry on the Nets, whether it is a coach, player, or someone else. So here's what Kyrie and the Nets need to do in order to be in the best position possible to chase after a ring. Kyrie just needs to keep his mouth shut for once in his career and focus on the task at hand. I'm gonna draw things back to Irving's former teammate LeBron once again, because he is just a great example of what Kyrie Irving should be doing right now. LeBron and the Lakers didn't do any talking like the Nets or even Clippers have been doing. LeBron and AD let their game do the talking. LeBron and AD let their game do the talking, and that's what they put all their focus into. And guess what? They won a chip because of their dedication and focus, and they definitely let their game speak for them. I believe that this is exactly what Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant need to do right now in order for the Nets to win. My man just needs to keep his head down and put all of his time and mind into the game and try to win for Brooklyn, because the fact is, it is a lot harder than you think to focus on the game and win when you are constantly on blast for ridiculous statements you keep putting out every week. I truly do believe if Kyrie and KD can do this, they will go to the NBA Finals and possibly win, but they need to be locked in, because at the highest level, I don't care how talented you are, if you aren't locked in, you aren't winning. Enough said. I really do hope that Kyrie Irving's media blackout is Kyrie finally taking the initiative to put an end to all these comments he has been making and try to finally turn around his reputation and bad rap. Because although this was a bit unnecessary, it was pretty smart on Kyrie's part because the media has not benefited him at all in a minute. Issues with Diva Irving aside, he was looking very nice on the floor in the Nets preseason debut, and KD too. I forgot how much I miss watching Kyrie and KD hoop, because although I gave them a little hate, I really do like them as players, and it's very hard to deny that watching Kyrie dance with the ball or KD dunk in transition is a great time. On the court though, there really isn't too much the Nets will have to fix in order to win at the highest level in my eyes. There is really only one crucial thing the Nets will have to do to keep their championship hopes alive throughout the season, and it really comes down to luck. That thing being keeping Kyrie and KD healthy. Now honestly, this is easier said than done because like I mentioned in a previous video, Kyrie Irving is one of the most injury-prone all-stars in the game, which is not a good feat to have. I'm not worried about KD, but if Kyrie goes down, that is a huge blow for the Nets and potentially puts them out of contention. That's why I thought the Nets may have pulled the trigger on traded for James Harden, but it looks like they are out of trade talks completely at this point. That's for next video. New head coach of the Nets, Steve Nash, had this to say about the Nets' upcoming season, which gives me some very good insight about what they are really pushing to do: get to the finals at minimum. I don't want to say that anything less than a championship is not a success, because you never know what happens in life. You never know the way the ball bounces. Fortune is a big part of winning an NBA championship, but we are playing for a championship and we're going to build accordingly. We're going to frame everything we do in the lens of, is this a championship characteristic, or is this worth championship quality? It sounds to me like Steve Nash and the Nets are hungry for a championship, and I don't blame them. I truly hope that locker room issues and injuries don't get in the way of their potential monumental run to take the title to Brooklyn. Let's just say that this season will determine if Kyrie and KD will save the Nets or destroy them. No pressure, to say the least. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me just say that I am pumped to watch the Nets team in action because they have the potential to take it all the way. And if you did enjoy this video, I post 5 videos a week that are all bangers like this one, so I would highly recommend subscribing if you're new and joining the Woods crew, because that will definitely help the channel getting to that 1K mark. Leaving a like below would also be clutch as well. But regardless, I appreciate all you guys that have been watching the videos, no matter what you do. Next video will be on the fact that the Heat may make a huge trade for James Harden soon. But until then, you guys just stay tuned. I'll catch you all in the next one. Woods out. Help us get to 1K today by subscribing below and joining the Woods crew.